Hello, friends, and welcome to another video lesson from DBOS Talks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. This video is in the playlist called Serious Fun with SQL, and here we'll learn how to do SQL string concatenation. Concatenation, simply put, I just put in here a very simplified definition. It is the process of joining strings, and a string is a bunch of characters that go together as one. Okay. And not only that, a string can be, there could be others, but this is just the good for starters. A string can be a hard-coded value, you will see that later on, or it could be a column value, column meaning a column of a table. Okay, so we will be looking at the structure of a table called customer, which is quite familiar for those of you who have been following the videos on this channel. Okay. So desk, as you know, is an Oracle command, short for describe, which gives you the table structure. So let's describe this table called customer to see the table structure. So here we can see under the column heading called type, these values under that are the data types of the column. So these are the columns for the table. There are 5 columns, cost ID all the way to civil status, depending on where you're coming from. And the data types of these columns are at the far right. So varchar2, they're all varchar2, which is character. And the 10, the value, the numeric value inside the parenthesis is meant for the length of that data type, meaning that's the limit. It cannot go over 10 characters in length. It cannot go over 1 character in length in this case. Okay, that's what it means. So now let's look at the table's contents, the contents of this table called customer. So select asterisk from customer. So we see a couple of columns, 5 columns, and then there are 4 records, 4 rows of data. Having seen a table structure and knowing that the columns are of varchar2 data type, as we've seen in the output of the describe command, you should take note from my earlier definition that concatenation is the process of joining strings, and therefore we can use concatenation on these columns because they're all strings. You can join this with this with this. In any of them you can join together because they're all strings. Do also take note that in SQL, the concatenation character consists of the double pipe character, which is this. You just type 2 of them, this and then this. The vertical bar, sometimes called pipe. Okay, so in concatenation, you use 2 of them, not 1. Okay. Okay, let's look at a classic example of to show you what concatenation can do. So again, it's the process of joining strings in SQL. So select given name, double pipe, surname from customer. So we are selecting the column values of these 2 columns, this and this, but in between them, we are inserting the concatenation character, which consists of a pair of pipes or vertical bars. So what it will do, you can think of the concatenation characters as some kind of glue that will join together strings in SQL. So that means the value of this column will be joined to this column. Okay, the column value of this will be joined to the column value of this for all the applicable rows. Okay, in this case, I don't have a work condition, but so with that, it will do that concatenation process to all these 4 rows. Let's see what it does. Okay, so what it did is it joined indeed like a glue. It joined the value of the given name, first name, to the value of the surname for all the rows here. Okay, so John Doe, Amy Smith, Juan Cruz, James Santos. So all of them have been joined because of the concatenation character, which is a double pipe, double vertical bar. But if you look closely, you can see that something is amiss, something seems to be not so right, which is the name doesn't look correct or properly written or displayed because there is no space in between them. So to fix this, you will do further concatenation. How is that? So you ask yourself, what do you need here? What you need is to insert a space between the given name and the surname. So to do that, you will do some further concatenation. This time, you'll be concatenating this value with space, with a space character. So a space is also a string. It's also a string in SQL. So since it's a string, it's also enclosed in single quotes. Okay, so this is not enough because this kind of string contains nothing. It has zero length. The length of the character here is zero. So you will add a space with your space bar, and there you have a string character in between. Okay, so I am saying given name, the value of that, join with space. And then because this is a string, I cannot just go with this. Otherwise, it'll be, let's see, so it doesn't do what I am expecting it to do. So to do this correctly, you will join the column called given name, join it with the concatenation character with space, and then also join it again, concatenate it with surname. Okay, so like I said earlier, think of the concatenation character, which is the double pipe, as some kind of glue to join together strings. So I'm joining the column value given name with this glue. I'm joining it to a space character, and that I'm also joining to the column value surname. Let's do this now. Okay, so this time you can see that the output of the query is correct. It is properly showing the given name and the surname separated by a space in between. Okay, all rows of them are showing it correctly. There's just, again, you're learning from the experience, from doing it. It's better than just reading a book, reading some tutorial. You are learning while you're doing it or while you're watching this. So from here, you're again learning something new. Although the values look correct, look at the column heading, the column header. It doesn't look right, or it's confusing for somebody who's looking at this for the very first time. So you have this gibberish as a column header, given name, pipe, something. It's simply taking its name from this, the first few characters of, in fact, the whole thing. It's taking the whole thing here as a column header. So to solve that, you can add an alias to this, depending on what you want to call it. So to use an alias, you can use the keyword as, which is optional, mainly used for visibility, for readability, for code maintenance, but I would suggest you use it. Okay, so now you've added the column, an alias called name, it could be something better, and that is meant to be displayed here in the output. Okay, doesn't matter if you're using SQL Developer or SQL Plus, it will still work. That column header you're using as an alias, the alias you're using, will be shown as a column header for the result set. So let's do this thing. Okay, so that one also solved. The first the first road bump we hit and overcame was the absence of a space in between the two column values. And the next thing we did was to add an alias so that the result set will look nice. Okay, so that has fixed that little bit of issue. Finally, let me show you an example where we can concatenate column values as well as some other hard-coded string. In fact, we will use it to build a sentence. Okay, let's look at this. I will just copy and paste it here so it's quicker. So it looks very much similar to my previous SQL, except that we are concatenation much more here. So I'm concatenation this bunch of hard-coded string. Okay, string is a bunch of characters that go together as one. So here, a string, you can tell it by, because it's being enclosed in a pair of single quotes. Okay, so here there's something odd, maybe for you, for the first time you're seeing this, you're seeing this two single quotes, one after the other. That's meant to solve the predicament of having an apostrophe, because an apostrophe is actually using the same character as a single quote, which encloses a string. So it becomes a dilemma. Now, when I leave it as one, you see this jagged red line or pinkish line over here. It's telling you there's some syntax error. And when I try to execute this, it will give an error. Why? Because of this apostrophe, which is also being misinterpreted as a single quote. In fact, it is. So as you know, a string must be enclosed by a pair of single quotes, but now you get three. So it's a pain point, it's a source of confusion for SQL. So what you do to get over this is to add another single quote, some kind of escape character, but it's not really serving that purpose. So now when we execute this, problem solved. So what it does is we are doing a concatenation of this hard-coded string, the words the customer's name is, including a space at the end, and using the glue, the concatenation character, I'm joining it to the column value given name, and then again joining it, concatenating it with space, and then joining it, concatenating it with surname, and then concatenating it further to a full stop or a period. And what it gives is this complete sentence. The customer's name is John Doe. The customer's name is Amy Smith, etc. So it's a nice little technique for somebody just learning SQL that you can have this facility to construct sentences, even a whole letter. If you've seen, I have a video in this same playlist called Corporate Communications using SQL, and you can see the technique there in full use, how powerful it can be, how convenient it can be that you can use it at corporate level to, let's say, dynamically build, prepare a letter for any number of records, just giving it some logic, giving it some format. Okay, so in this video, you learned how to concatenate strings in SQL, and you can do that by concatenating either hard-coded strings like this one, even the space here is a string, and also concatenating it with a column value. You mentioned the column, but it actually is concatenating with the value of that column. Okay, so thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.